And he says, as Didi mentioned, my own karma caused, is there an echo? Is there echo? Maybe turn it down a little. Or if, I don't want to mess with the settings, but the devotee will see that this is due to the result of my own karma. Something as small as someone misbehaving with us or someone blaming us, these things. But he also sees, just as the ācārya who we ended with, Sri Harisuri says, he also sees that, wait, yes, it is a result of my previous karma, but also I have taken shelter of Bhagavan completely. Because I have taken shelter of Bhagavan completely, therefore he can do whatever he so desires. He can do whatever he so desires. If he is happy with my suffering, then let me suffer all the time. And if he is happy with my quote-unquote happiness, then let me be like that all the time. Whatever he sees his happiness in, that is not suffering for me, that is instead my great joy. We ended with this shloka at the end of several classes, 2 classes I believe, before I left for India. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jo dukh aata hai seva mein, sahi to param sukha. Whatever suffering we may go through in performance of our seva to Bhagavan, that is actually our param sukh, our greatest happiness. Sahi to param sukha. And then the bhajan goes something like, Nashya avidya jaya. That is, from this dukkha, from that suffering, what happens? My ignorance is completely removed. As you mentioned, my pap is completely destroyed, and that will remove the ignorance of me identifying that I am the doer, I am this, I am that. So we're continuously repeating this point, because only when we suffer do we realize something and we gain some maturity. We have discussed this. But when we suffer also, many devotees fall into the trap of questioning, why is this suffering coming? I don't deserve such suffering. So until and unless we accept that it is, 1, our previous karma, as you mentioned, and number 2 is, oh, not only that, Bhagavan is giving me the opportunity to become a sadhu, where I understand how to deal with suffering. That's why that verse in Bhagavad Gita, sukha dukkha, that is, dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yogananjara tatha dehantaras prapte dhiras tatra namoyati. Then, the waves of happiness and distress are just like the seasons. Oh my gosh, how can I forget this verse? It will come. Anyway, Krishna says the true yogi is one who can deal with happiness and distress the same. That way we can understand, because he has jnana, he has understanding of knowledge of how sukh and dukh in this world operate. It is simply like the waves of an ocean or 2 sides of the same coin. Someone who understands that will take both with grace and very, very happily. The example we give here is when you drive on Kirby Road, you go through a lot of potholes. But some may drive a 1980 Ford Pinto, and some may drive a 2026 Mercedes-Benz. They're both going on the same happiness and distress of this world, but one is dealing it with very nice and easy, very comfortable, and the other is dealing and taking the pain and every suffering step. So which one do you want to be? You'd rather sit in the Mercedes-Benz, of course. The Mercedes-Benz is the knowledge of our previous karma and how karma operates. All right. Any other point that was made last week?
I think you said, like, I don't know whether that was. I'm not sure. I was not here. I was not hearing what Didi spoke, but I think you said that not only being a pure devotee helps you. You have to follow all the activities to become a pure devotee. Like you should read Shāstras. You should do chantings. You should listen to Harikatha. All these things are required to be a pure devotee. It's just not saying that, okay, I'm a devotee and you don't do anything else. Yeah, that was a point which struck me last time because I don't do some of the few of them. So.
Thank you, Prabhu, for bringing up this very important point. In this class, we often discuss about the moods and the emotions in regards to Bhagavan's Leelas. We discuss how the devotees feel, how Bhagavan feels, and the very sentiments that devotees experience when they hear different pastimes. But Prabhu brings up a very important point is that in school, if a student, one time I will tell you an experience, how about that? We'll understand it that way, it's simpler to understand. One time I went to my chachi's house, my aunt's house in India, and she is listening to a lot of katha, and she's practicing bhakti, she's performing sadhana, the practice, etc. And then I went to her home, and when I go to her home, sometimes we stay up till 2, 3 a.m. discussing various things because she's like one of the only people in my family whom I can really share a lot of these things with. So we were discussing, and then we brought up the point of prema, and we talk about prema in this class more often than maybe other classes. So she said one thing that always stuck with me is, when someone becomes a little pagal, when someone becomes a little, how should we say? The world thinks that they are crazy. That's when you know they will make advancement in this field of bhakti. So my Shiksha Guru quotes this verse, evaṁ-vrataḥ sva-priya-nāma-kīrtyā jātānurāga-tuta-citta uccai hasyat tato roditi-roti gāyat unmadavanyatati loka bhaya. That is, when a devotee experiences prema, evaṁ-vrataḥ sva-priya-nāma-kīrtyā, sva-priya-nāma-kīrtyā, he takes with great joy that name whom he is so attached to, who is sva-priya, who is very dear to him. Some of us may be attached to a specific name of the Lord, like Krishna, or even Govinda, Gopal, Ramana, Rama, etc. And because they have attachment to a specific mood in which they are serving the Lord, then naturally they will have attachment to the specific name of the Lord. For example, my daughter's name is Lalita. I love my daughter. Her name is Lalita. Everyone calls her Lalita. But what do we say at home? Lalu, Chappu, Gudiya, Bubbu. Like this. We have some childish names that we attach to her that only me and Haripriya say because we have some affection for her. Similarly, Bhagavan's devotees have affection for him and may call him in a specific way. For example, does Sita Devi call Lord Ram Bhagavan Ram? No. She calls him Pati Dev, etc. The Ayodhya residents will say Maharaj. Lakshmanji will say Bhaiya. Hanumanji will say Prabhu. Understand? Similarly, for Krishna, some may call him Govinda. Hey Govinda! Hey Govinda! Yashoda Maiya may say, Hey Gopal! Idhar aao Gopal. Idhar aa Lala. Nanda Baba may say that. Depending on the affection depth and depending on the mood, they have a different name. The gopis even go far as to call Krishna a lampat. Didi, what does lampat mean? You may feel shameful in saying it, but what does lampat mean? Crook? No. Yeah, crook. Someone who is a womanizer. Someone who loves to associate with other women. He has many gopis. Therefore, gopis may call him lampat. It's an insult, a gali. But it's not a gali made with anger or hate. It's a gali made with love. Like this, makhan chor. Chor ke achhi shabd hai. It's not a good word, right? Will you be happy if somebody calls you a thief? But Krishna loves being called makhan chor. Yeah? So like this, sva-priya-nāma-kīrtyā. Jatanuraga druta chitta uchchay. Because he has so much anurag and attachment in his chitta, in his heart, therefore he sings loudly uchchay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Rama Ram, Hare Hare. And when he's singing, hasyatyato roditi roti gaya. कभी कभी हंसते हैं, कभी कभी रोते हैं, कभी कभी नीचे गिर जाते हैं आनंद में. Sometimes he sings very loud like screaming. Why? Unmad, because he has really deep affection for the Lord. And he begins dancing. Lokabhaya, because he doesn't care what the world thinks. So, when my chachi said, you become pagal, then you know you have a touch of prema. But until then, Prabhu mentioned, what is the process? That is known as sadhan bhakti. That means even though we talk a lot about the attitude, the emotions, the way in which bhakti is performed, eventually you have to still do it. Just like you can love biology a lot, but if you don't go home and study it, you'll still not get very far. You can love it, but that love should result in some activity. That activity is known as sadhan. Understand? If it does not result in activity, our ācāryas reject that sentiment. That is just a material feeling, an emotion that has no value. I'll give one final example and then we'll move on to today's class. We often use the example of a child going to their mother and saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. The first time it's nice. The second time it's nice. The fifth time Didi will say, show me you love me. Similarly, when we are performing trying to develop a loving relationship with Bhagavan, then we should also perform some service to him, an activity. That activity can be Shravanam, hearing katha, can be Kirtanam, which is the primary activity for devotees in this Kali Yuga, that is chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shravanam, Kirtanam, remembrance, Vishnu Smaranam. These three are the primary activities for any devotee. If you fail to do these three activities, that means your emotion is just a waste of time. It's a sentimental feeling of Bhagavan, but it will not result in any progress. So, dear devotees, that is why our ācāryas emphasize we must go and chant the names after hearing the katha also. Because if that's not happening, then we will not make any progress whatsoever. So that is the reality. Thank you very much, Prabhu, for bringing that. Sorry for the long-winded. Anybody else have any comment or question?
So when you said this person actually becomes mad, so I remember one of the person in our building used to be in India. She used to be like Krishna. She used to be, we used to call her mad. So I kind of resonate.
Right. So some may experience some what is called bhav abhas, a semblance or what looks like bhav, but until one understands it in complete, just like a PhD in biology will understand biology in full, not just a college student who may be, I know biology now, I'm a major in biology. The PhD will look at him and say, Are tujhe kuch nahi pata. You haven't gotten very far yet. So in that way, not speaking about this devotee, but only the Guru Janas can tell us, has this person actually experienced real prema or real bhav? Because only someone who has reached that can tell about that other person. Just like a PhD can tell you how far along are you in your understanding. Yes?
Like you mentioned, that person who is a mad now, that can never lead to any activity. कुछ कर तो नहीं, मतलब am I right? हम अगर अपने senses में आगे कोई तो हम कुछ कर सकते हैं ना.
So, wonderful question. That if one is pagal in madness, then he is simply absorbed in that madness. Is that the question? So how can they do some activity? In this way, do the gopis have prema? Yes? They are constantly absorbed in the remembrance of Sri Krishna. Yes? But do the gopis sit still and lie on the ground and just sit there? What are they busy doing?
Housework.
What housework? Give me an example. What do the gopis do in Vrindavan?
I know they go to the river.
They go to the Yamuna, they collect water, they milk the cows, they churn the butter, they make the makhan. Do they make the makhan for their own rotis? For Krishna. Because what are they secretly hoping? That he will come and do makhan chor. And then when he does it, they'll blame him and call him makhan chor, and they'll complain. But secretly, what are they wishing for? Ki aaj hamare ghar mein hi aayenge. That he should come today in my home. So they're not just sitting in one place. Otherwise, that is like a brahmagyani, a yogi, who will sit in one place in the forest and meditate. No, you will not see any bhakta. Hanumanji, does he have prema for Lord Ram? Is he just sitting there on his feet and saying, I'll stay here, Prabhu, that's all I want to do? Is he? He did so many activities, right? Because he has a mood of, and we ended with this in the last class also. What does he have a mood of? That the Lord needs me. Last time we ended, the demons think that if I kill the devotees, stop the yajnas, Vishnu will not be fed, we'll kill Vishnu that way. Do you remember this point? They're thinking in this manner. So by killing the source of his energy, it will eventually kill him. Of course, then Kamlesh Prabhu said, no, that's not how it works. The Lord is complete in himself. He's 100% complete. Whether someone worships him or not, he's still complete. But then we also said, no, the devotee thinks he is not complete. Why? Because he is prem ke bhukhe hain. He is hungry for love. That means he's hungry. Something's missing. right? So the devotees do not just sit around lazily. Instead, they're always trying to perform some seva in this way. And those who are very advanced, every activity they do, even though it may appear to be the same as someone else, that activity is also service. Maharaj once said, when you go to the grocery store, are you thinking, what will Krishna eat? What will he like? When you're cooking, are you thinking, oh, does Krishna like this? When you're serving, these are devotees of my family, is not my family. This is Krishna's family. These are devotees of Krishna. I'm serving my his devotees. Every single action, though it looks the same, he's purchasing the vegetables, he's paying for it at the cashier, he's going home and doing the cooking, he's serving the his family members, etc. But the consciousness is completely different, right? So everything results in service. There has to be activity. Anything no activity means sentiment only, useless sentiment. Okay. Can we move on? Okay. So I got 30 minutes left. There's no way we're going to complete today's lesson. But on the way here, I had one thought, because I was listening to one katha, and I thought, wow, there's something that we haven't really taught, I think, in this temple ever. And so I wish to today share that with you. And so far, I don't think this topic has ever been brought up in 15 years of this temple's existence. So we're going to spend some time today talking about that. And we're going to, if we don't complete it today, we'll finish it next week. Does that sound interesting? Okay. So I'm not going to follow this. That's why before I loaded the slides, I left one blank slide, because I'm going to teach something different. But let's start with this. Mother Prabhu, can you please read what the Gurudev has to say?
Krishna can accomplish so many things by one activity. He has come from Goloka Vrindavan to relish the love and affection of the virtuosos, especially the gopis, and more especially Radhika. Those who hear all of Krishna's sweet pastimes with the virtuosos will be liberated and develop Krishna.
All right, so here, so many important points are being made, that Krishna can accomplish so many things by one activity. Gurudev has given 12 reasons for Krishna's appearance in this form, in this pastime. Some of the reasons are, for example, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatpanam shrijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. These are external reasons Krishna gives, that, oh, I come to establish dharma, I come to kill the demoniac, I come to save the sadhus, I come millennium after millennium to re-establish things in the proper way, etc., as time changes things. These are external reasons. Then Gurudev gives many, many internal reasons. That is, what Bhagavan is actually thinking when I appear. Why do I want to appear? Sure, I need to go and take care of a lot of things in this world. That's like the duty part. But Bhagavan also has internal desires that he wants to fulfill. That Gurudev is saying, what does he say? He has come from? To relish the love and affection of his devotees. Primarily, the Lord is interested in ananda, in happiness. And happiness doesn't come from taking care of your duties. How many of us get a lot of happiness from going to work, taking care of our family, meaning like purchasing things, paying for school bills? We get some happiness from that, but that's not the real thing that we get, right? Where do we get our happiness from? You live a weekday and weekend life, right, Didi? Do you get your happiness from the weekend or from the weekday?
I get it all the time, but
Okay, well, maybe for you, you're very fortunate. Most of us get it on the Weekends. Because on the weekends, we don't do our duties all the time. We're busy with friends, family, hopefully some harikatha, etc. So Bhagavan's weekend, as we can say, is with his devotees. That's where his heart is. So Gurudev is saying he comes for that reason primarily. Then he says one thing: those who hear all of Krishna's sweet pastimes of the Vrajavasis will be liberated and develop Krishna prema. So those who hear these pastimes, they will naturally feel prema in their heart. That's why we do this. That's why we listen to the pastimes. But there is something here that a question and a doubt may arise. Madhav Prabhu, how long have you been hearing Krishna's pastimes? Since you were a kid. And how old are you today? 28. So when did you start? Let's give an example. 5. So for 23 years, Madhav Prabhu has been doing that. Is that right? Śrīla Prabhu, how long have you been doing it?
Say I'm 50 years older than I am.
No, you don't have to tell me your age. How about that? You don't have to tell me your age.
Yeah, but yeah, 50 years.
50 years? You've been hearing Krishna's pastimes? Okay, so 50 years. Now, without asking you, because you all have it and I certainly don't, maybe I've been listening to it for 30 plus years. Right? But has this come yet? Certainly I can say no. So then we hear this statement and then immediately we say, well, why is it not happening? I'm doing that. Let's say I go home and I'm doing the chanting, I'm reading the Śāstra, I'm hearing the katha, but it's still not developing. Then the question will come, why? Adha Prabhu, why?
Two things I can think of that we've talked about in this class. Like, it may not pertain exactly to this, but it's like whenever we think something is maybe not going on track, you know, when we think of our bhakti, it's like it's a mirror reflection of us, right? Like it's maybe because of our fault. Yeah, exactly. And then the second is kind of what we also discussed in a separate class. You know, Krishna is sometimes not always fair, right? It's all depending. Maybe that's not the right wording, but like it's when he wants to give it to us, or it's all on his. It's all up to him, right?
He's
We just
not.
have to faith.
He doesn't want to give it to you.
Something like that.
Prema is a two-way street. Love is a two-way street. You can love somebody you can love a girl all you want, but if that girl don't love you back, well, you're sheer out of luck. Is that true?
Yeah. Yes.
Similarly, you can love Bhagavan all you want, but if Bhagavan doesn't want to reciprocate, then you're sheer out of luck. But Bhagavan, he says one thing. He says, I will reciprocate. I'm the only person in the whole universe that will reciprocate with you 100%, exactly the way that you want.
Us.
So then it goes back to us. Okay. Let's continue to read it.
We cannot imagine Krishna's love. It is beyond the limit of our mundane knowledge. He is
Samadarshi. Samadarshi.
which means that he is equal to all.
Sabhi samman dena, like understanding everyone to be equal, and he sees everyone, so he's equal to all. Okay?
If you love him, you will realize he loves me. If you do not love him, you will think he is neglect.
All right. So where is the primary emphasis? Mostly on our own attitude. Mostly on our own attitude. All right. I left this slide blank because now I'm going to discuss the topic of how the Leelas work, why Bhagavan performs Leelas, the science behind Leelas, and ultimately, how does that ras flow to the heart of the devotee? Okay, so we often hear this term, bhakti, Ras. Have we heard this term in this class? Yes? Sonu Didi, can you tell me what you think that means? Simple, whatever. Sorry? Okay, there's a feeling of love and joy. Anyone else? A sweetness. Anything else comes to mind? Emotions. Anything else? Okay. What does ras mean? Ras. This word ras. Have you heard this term, by the way, Madam? Bhakti-rasa. What does ras mean?
Translation is like juice.
Juice. Thank you. Juice, or also known as nectar. So Didi, can you give me some different types of ras in this world? Different types of juices.
Like orange.
Orange juice, that is santra ras. Another famous one in India is ras, that is mango juice, right? Any other one? Apple juice, okay, apple juice, etc. Now, when we analyze what is ras, we often use these sort of terminologies. But in Sanskrit, that terminology is given for ras. How do you make ras, Didi?
Squeeze it.
You squeeze it. Give me some more detail. You get the mango,
Like the you peel.
you peel the mango, you remove the part that you don't want.
And then mix it with sugar.
Okay, so you can mix it with sugar, especially if you're like the Indian companies where they don't give you 50% mango, they'll give you 50% sugar. You put some sugar in it, you put some mango in it, but you remove the peel. What else? You can add some milk to it, make it like a little mango lassi. All these different things are there, correct? So rasa is not just mango. It is a combination of many things. Another example we can give, can I erase this? Another example we can give is, there is a type of rasa known as bhojan ras. Can you imagine what the definition of that is? Food ras, or the taste that you experience. Experiencing food. Is that right? When you eat something, you experience bhojan ras. Let's take the example of my favorite, which is pizza. Okay, Didi, have you ever made a pizza before?
Yeah, last night.
Okay, you made pizza, great. Why you didn't bring me any? All right, so you made pizza. You didn't invite me. So, pizza, yeah? What is pizza made of? Didi, can you tell me some steps?
I made it. Jowar.
Oh God, I definitely don't want to come for that. I want maida and full of cheese. Anyhow, go ahead. Tell me how you typically Jawar. No wonder your kids are complaining. Anyhow, go ahead. Oh, there you go. That's why. Oh, well, Prabhu is complaining. Rakesh Prabhu is complaining. Okay, go ahead. I'm just joking. Go ahead. So you have some flour to make a base, right?
Yeah.
Then on top of flour, you put sauce made of tomatoes. Then in the sauce, what do you put? Tomatoes? Oh, okay. You did pesto, which is made of oil and maybe some pine nuts, whatever, right? Okay. Then cheese. Was it a cheese pizza only?
No.
You wouldn't allow that if you're having jawar. You wouldn't put any cheese. You just got to put anyway. Go ahead. Veggies. Okay. And then once you put it on on your pan or whatnot, and you put the base, you put the sauce, you put the cheese. I'm not teaching you all anything new here. Veggies. This is not the new part of the class that we've never taught before, where I'm teaching you how to make pizza. Okay. And then what did you do? You put it in the oven. So you applied some heat. All right. You got the heat. Now you've come up with this pizza, which has, many slices, etc. Right? Okay. If I were to give you the cheese, the sauce, the base, the veggies, and put that separately, and I told you to eat it, would it taste good? No. It only tastes good when you put them all together. And then you enjoy what is called pizza. Make sense? This is not rocket science, guys. You enjoy a flavor once you put all the combinations. Another example is you get an aloo, you put the masala, the oil, etc. You heat it up in the pan, and then when you put that in your mouth, can you say that you're only eating aloo? What are you going to say? I'm eating aloo sabzi, right? And that sabji tastes totally different than just each of the ingredients separately. Okay. So our ācāryas describe that ras works in a similar fashion. When we are looking at ras, then there are many ingredients that go into ras. You gave the example of sugar, milk, mango. In the pizza example, you have all the ingredients. And then there is one thing that is on top of just the ingredients. That is a process. In this case, for the pizza, it was heating. Without the oven, obviously, you wouldn't have to enjoy pizza. You wouldn't get to enjoy pizza. So there was one ācārya, his name was Bhārat Muni. You may have heard of Bharatanatyam, right? So his name was Bharat Muni. And he wrote a Śāstra called Nātya Śāstra. And therefore, when people perform Bharatanatyam, Bharat, he was the source of this, and they're performing Natyam. Has anybody ever been to a Arangetram or a performance where they're doing Bharatanatyam? Yes, Didi? So when the dancers, my two cousins did an Arangetram, it was like 2.5, 3 hours long, and they're continuously dancing. But are they just dancing to a song? What were they doing? Do you happen to remember?
They dance for different songs. They start with, of course, they do puja to Shiva first.
Right?
Then there are different levels of dances, like they perform 8 dances.
Yes, that's right.
And the 8th one, they call it like Mangalam, whatever.
Auspicious, yes. But what type of dance, when they're performing their dance, what are they doing? Expressing a different mood or also telling a story. Didi, in Hindi, what is Natya? What does Natya mean in Hindi? Natak karna. No. That's Nitya. What is Natya? That is drama. So a Bharat Natyam is a dance which tells a story. Okay. When Bharat Muni, Lord Brahma went to Bharat Muni and he said, "Hey Muni, I have manifested, the Lord has spoken, and now the 4 Vedas are manifest in the world. But the truth is nobody can read them. Very few people are able to read the 4 Vedas. 1, they're so long. Number 2, they're so complicated." So he said, Brahmaji said, "Hey Bharat Muni, hey Munivar, can you come up with some way that people understand the essence of the 4 Vedas, those who are not so greatly educated, who are so studious?" So Bharat Muni said, "I have just thing." And then he wrote Nātya Śāstra, which is also sometimes known as the 5th Veda. Why? Because through drama and story, everyone can understand some truths. Just like in this class, we tell some story or example, then the point becomes clear. Drama and story make an easy way for us to understand things rather than if we read pages and pages of how things work. Make sense? All right. So, Nātya Śāstra, when he wrote this, he wrote that the crux of Nātya Śāstra, when people actually realize something, is when ras flows in the audience. That is, when the audience watching the drama feels in their heart something, that's when realization occurs. Make sense? Think about any drama you've ever been to. In this day and age, unfortunately, it's often movies, is our experience of drama. But in the olden days, for those of you who went to Ram Leela, etc., you have went to an actual drama where there's actors on stage. My Shiksha Guru once said, in drama, in real drama, the most expensive tickets are in the front. But in the movie theater, the most expensive tickets are in the back. All right? Because he's like, this is just dry. This is not actually seeing the actors being portrayed. But still, when we go to a movie, let's say in my day and age, the most famous movie was Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. Still a very famous movie, actually, if I'm not mistaken. In any case, when we were teenage boys and we were just going through puberty and we're just falling in love with girls, when we see that movie, then it evokes like this amazing emotion in your heart. And you say, pyar ho to aisa hi pyar ho. Where I get to run in the fields and I, sacrifice everything and fly across the world to find the love of my life. And then she's just about to marry someone else, but I get her before she does. All this kind of thing is there. But it invokes an emotion in the heart, is the essence of that, why that movie was so successful. So whoever can produce a drama or a movie which evokes an emotion. Sometimes we often like to see a horror movie because even though it's a kind of a negative emotion, it evokes an emotion. This is known as bhayanak ras, horror ras. All right, now, when you are going through a drama, Bharat Muni analyzes this in 3 different ways, or 3 different parts. He first says, and what he refers to as vibhav. Vibhav is what is known as the support or the, make it simple, the characters that hold that emotion in them. Okay? So I'm going to use a very simple example, which hopefully you all know this example, which is when Arjun weds Draupadi. Do you all know this story? Do you know how Arjun gets married to Draupadi or no? Hare Krishna, Devi. Do you know? Do you remember, Prabhu? He goes to the slambar, the marriage ceremony. They're dressed in mendicant clothes because they're in hiding. He has to shoot a rotating fish with an arrow. Does everybody know this story? No? All right. In any case, Arjun is a warrior. In the olden times, when a princess would get married, they would have what's called a swambar, which is a kind of like a competition for the bravest of men to come and do something to win the hand of the lady. So in this case, the swambar was that if you could look at a bowl of water, okay, and on the top of the ceiling or on the top of the wall, there would be a fish that's rotating, how do we say, a statue of a fish? A replica of a fish. It was like on a clock, and the fish was moving like this, okay? You had to look at the reflection of the fish in the water, shoot the arrow, and the arrow should pierce the eye of the fish exactly on the time. You can imagine the amount of accuracy you had to have, because the reflection, waters are rippling, the speed is not perfect exactly as there. You had to look, you had to measure, and then you had to pierce the eye and release the arrow without looking at the actual target. Very difficult thing. Of course, many people tried and failed. Arjun, of course, was victorious because he was the greatest archer. So when Arjun is entering this arena, then Arjun has a feeling that's going on within his heart that is known as Śrī Bhārat. Now you may wonder, why is he going into all this? I promise you it will make sense soon. Śrī Bhārat. Śrī Bhārat means the internal emotion of that particular person. Okay? So Arjun's Śrī Bhārat, Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī says, was courage. He's coming in as a warrior. He's coming in that I will win this competition and I'm going to be very courageous. Vibhav, or the characters in this drama or in this pastime, are Arjun and Draupadi. Now, when Arjun walks in, he sees the challenge. He feels courageous that, yes, I will accomplish this challenge. But there are some effects that he has when he experiences such emotions and when he's going through such pastimes. Those are known as anubhav. Imagine if you're a very courageous, bold warrior. You're coming into an assembly with many other warriors, and you are wanting to win. What are some of the emotions, what are some of the emotions that a warrior would feel during this time?
Belief in themselves.
Okay, belief in themselves. Passion, yeah. What are some things you might see on their body happen?
Upright posture.
Upright posture, meaning like braveness. Okay. What else?
Very confident the way they walk.
Confident walking. Okay.
Like a calm. Some people usually have calm faces.
Okay. But maybe they might also be experiencing some nervousness.
Nerves, like obviously internal nerves.
Okay. So do you think that he experienced nervousness throughout the whole thing, or was that just some parts?
Maybe just some parts.
Maybe when he first sees the challenge.
Yeah, but when he's actually taking the challenge, he's feeling.
All right. So she has now described another part which is known as vyabhichari, or temporary emotions that happen. So maybe some nervousness, maybe some doubt, maybe some etc. And then when he finally wins, he also experiences great joy, relief. Yeah, all these things, okay? You can understand it? So these, when Bharat Muni was writing Nātya Śāstra, he was instructing others how to compose a good drama, one that will bring about ras in the heart of not only the actors, but also in the heart of those watching him. Because, the other day, I'm a material person. My wife sent me a message. She said, when I come back, I want to see this movie. I was like, okay, whatever. Then she sent me a clip of the actor in the movie. And the actor was talking about how he was preparing so hard for the movie. He was like, I secluded myself for 30 days. I thought about, ate, walked, wore his clothes. I thought about all the things that particular actor would do so I could get into the mood of how to act like that person. So similarly, Bharat Muni is saying that this ras should flow in the heart of not only the actor and the actresses, but also in the heart of the audience. Now you're like, man, why is he going into detail about this? When the combination, just like the pizza example, the combination of all of these ingredients happens mixed with the base, that is the original mood in which the person is in, when it adds to that flavor, then finally he experiences ras. Just like in the case of Arjun weds Draupadi. Arjun is a courageous person all the time, but when he's put into a situation with another person whom he wants to love, with the situation that might also bring in sometimes some nervousness and doubt, and then he's combining it and he's feeling some effects of that. Oh, maybe his hairs are standing on end. Maybe he's walking with confidence. Excuse me. Then that is a very different feeling than compared to just his normal day. Is that right? Excuse me, I'm sorry. Similarly, now let's take this into bhakti. When the Lord performs his pastimes, okay, he is performing what? What is known as a lila. Is lila another word for drama? When he's performing his pastimes, then there are two characters, or maybe many characters, but there's two types of characters. One is Krishna himself, in comparison, let's say Arjun. And then there's also his devotees that are there. When his devotees come into contact with Krishna, then many things happen. And when those different emotions, thank you, Didi, thank you so much. When different emotions take place, then the ras between the Lord and his devotee flows. We give the example of Bharat, the brother of Lord Ram, when he comes to meet Lord Ram and he tries to bring him back to Ayodhya after he was exiled to the forest. I asked this question to Narendra Prabhu because he has told me that's one of his favorite, most heart-touching pastimes that he has ever experienced. And he says, whenever I watch that scene, I start to cry. And then I make a joke and I say, Narendra Prabhu, but tera bhai to tere baju mein hi baitha hua hai. Kamlesh Prabhu is sitting right next to you when you watch this scene. Tu kyun ro raha hai? ठीक है, Bharat is wanting his brother back, his brother refuses. But तू तो घर जाएगा ना इसके बाद, तेरे भाई के साथ तू तो घर जाएगा. Why are you crying? So why is he crying? He's crying because he feels one in heart with the actor that is experiencing such a ras. That's why we cry in the movies. That's why we cry in any drama. So when Gurudev says this statement, those who hear all of Krishna's sweet pastimes with the Vrajavasis will be liberated and develop Krishna Prema. Krishna Prema is described as bhakti ras. Now I asked you, we've heard the pastimes for many years, myself included, but still the ras didn't manifest in our heart. Why is that? Because when you are looking at this definition of ras, Bhagavan is called Akhil Rasamrita Murti, the embodiment of all rasas. When we are hearing the pastimes of the Lord, then we are failing to identify ourselves and our emotions and what the emotions of what his devotees are experiencing in that ras. Meaning, when we hear, for example, that when Yashoda Maiya is churning the butter, oh yeah, thank you. When Yashoda Maiya is churning the butter, when she's making the milk, when she's milking the cows, when she's washing the dishes, etc., etc. When Yashoda Maya is doing such things, we are hearing it, but are we thinking, what is Yashoda Maya feeling when this is happening? When Śrīla Rūpa Gosvāmī says, for those of you listening to Upadeshamrita series, this will be the next verse. Tad anuragi jananugami kalam nayad akilam iti upadeshasaram. When one identifies in their heart with the heart of someone who has love for Krishna, tad anuragi, when someone follows someone who has, Shri Radha Govind Ji ki jai, someone who has anurag for Krishna, then tad anuragi jananugami kalam nayad akilam iti upadeshasaram. This is the essence of all instruction. When one performs their sadhana bhakti, the chanting of the names, the hearing of katha, the reading of Śāstra, and when they're meditating and hearing the pastimes of the Lord, whether it be that in Vrindavan, whether it be that on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, whether it be that in Lord Ram's pastimes, whether it be that in Mahaprabhu's pastimes, what the devotee must remember, oh, Krishna is tasting the ras, but the devotee is also tasting the ras at that time. What angle is the devotee looking at him? And what is he feeling? If you can identify that and then tell yourself, I too want to taste that. Then, by someone understanding who are the characters in this Leela, what are the emotions that they are feeling in this Leela, both types of emotions, that is their core emotion and also those emotions known as vyabhichari, which come up like waves of the ocean. They come up. Sometimes he felt nervous. Oh, how he must have felt when Yashoda Maya saw that Krishna is eating dirt. Then what nervousness must she have felt? She must have felt, my Lala will get sick. My Lala will get hurt. If only I had that emotion that my Krishna, oh, let me protect him from any danger. Then that ras will flow from their heart to your heart, just like in a drama we attend and we identify ourselves with the character in that play. So when Bhagavan is performing Leela, he does so with so many things in mind. Gurudev said Krishna accomplishes so many things with one activity. Because in all the Leelas, there are many devotees there, and they all have different rasas. For example, when Krishna is eating, his sakhas are thinking, oh, I want to share what Krishna has. I like laddus too. His Maya is thinking, oh, my Lala, make sure his stomach is full. Bada kamjor lag raha hai wo. He's getting weak because every day he's going out in the fields, grazing the cows. He becomes tired. When he comes back, I want that his belly becomes full. And the gopis are thinking, oh, is he going to take the bite from what I gave, from what I cooked? Do you see? So when one understands this aspect of rasa, then one can get rasa flowing within their heart. Someone who is a rasik, a taster or a connoisseur of that rasa, can give that ras in the heart. So, because we're going over time, the final conclusion or point of this is, Kailash Prabhu said we should do our sadhan bhajan, that is chanting of the names, reading, hearing Harikatha. That is 100% true. But there is one thing that was missing. That is, until and unless we serve the devotee who is rasik, who is full of ras for the Lord, then it is very difficult to also make progress. Which devotee should we serve? That devotee who makes us feel ras. That is the essential. When someone touches the heart and makes us feel, I will give up my life for, if I can just taste this ras, then I'm ready to give up anything and everything. When you experience that, and when you find such a devotee, make sure you serve them right away. That is the real importance. That is why Gurudev says, those who hear all of Krishna's sweet pastimes, there should be a parenthesis there, from a rasik Vaishnav, from a connoisseur of ras. Those persons will become liberated and develop Krishna prem, because the ras will flow from Krishna and his associates to the heart of such a rasik Vaishnav, and then to the heart of the audience whom he is or she is speaking to. We'll end with that. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevcha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. If anything good has been said, because I'm repeating the words of the previous ācāryas and our Gurudev, if any mistake has been made, that's certainly my misinterpretation. Hare Krishna. All right.